What's up, guys? In today's video, we're going to talk about how to manage your rep schemes. More recently, I received some questions online after people saw me working out via Instagram, and they noticed my rep ranges are kind of odd, or the way that I schedule my reps throughout a given set, throughout a given exercise. So in today's video, I wanted to cover that. But before I get into my own individual rep scheme, I wanted to go over some typical rep schemes and kind of describe to you guys what's going on with them, and then you could see how mine differs. So here we have our handy dandy whiteboards, and what we're going to be looking at, I'm going to try not to make it glare, is we have a typical ascending and descending rep scheme. So I'm going to go ahead and put that a little bit closer to the camera so you guys can see what we're looking at. We're going to stick with the ascending rep scheme first. And by ascending, I mean as the weights go up, the reps go down, which is, I would say, a very typical rep scheme for somebody. So the reps here, we go from a set of 20, 15, 12, 10, 8. And then as the reps go down, the weights go up. And I kind of have this little color coordinated chart here on the side, just in color. The first few sets, in my opinion, are always going to be easier because we're fresh. It's lightweight and it's high rep. And we're really just warming up in this phase, I feel like. Then when we get down to 10, that's where it starts to get a little bit harder. So that starts to get to the yellow. And then by the end, we are very fatigued because we've already done all these working sets. And of course, we're lifting our heaviest weight. So that is why it's red in this category. This is probably the toughest set. If you're doing only one set of this, sometimes it's hard to set, a personal record when we're here. And we're going to get back to that in a couple minutes. The descending scheme, the pyramid scheme here, is as the reps go up, the weight is obviously going to go down. So some people start off lifting heavy, so we're going to do sets of 8, 10, 12, 15, and 20 respectively. Now, since we are starting off with a slightly heavier weight than usual, I would say it's going to be a little bit more challenging, right? So that's why I have the yellow category to start us off with, just because the weight's a little bit heavier. And then, of course, as the weight gets a little bit lighter and the reps go up, I would say that's going to get a little bit easier. Now, with this one, it's probably easier to set a new PR if you're doing your heaviest weight first, but you have to make sure that you're warmed up before you go into this. So this would be the typical ascending and the typical descending, which a lot of people do in their given workouts. I've done this in the past, particularly the ascending. I feel like that's a lot more common of the two. I usually don't see people start with their heaviest weight and then work down, typically because people like to set new PRs in the gym every single time. So this is the one that is more common. Up next, I'm gonna show you what I've been doing and why I like it. So we just went through the ascending and descending pyramids exclusively, and now we're going to jump on what I've been doing. With mine, and I color coordinated and everything, and I even gave some weights as an example. So this is my rep scheme, what I've been doing, and you'll notice that it starts light and it ends light per se. It starts with 20, ends with 20. So it's a wave pattern. It's 20, 15, 12, 12, 15, 20. And this is just an example. I still do this when I do lift heavier. So for example, I might start with a 12, 10, a 8, a 6, and then go 6, 8, 10, 12. But this is the example that we're going with today. So as the reps change, the weight changes. But one thing that I do want to point out right away is that it is a combination of the two that we just reviewed. So it is both an ascending and descending pyramid style of training. So initially, I'm going to go with a set of 20 at a relatively light weight, which is green. The 15 reps, which is going to be a little bit heavier weight. I'm still pretty fresh there, which is going to be green. It's going to be easy. When we get into the 12 sets, this first 12 set, which would be my heaviest working weight of the day for respectively 12, it's going to be challenging but manageable. So I would consider that, a moderate set. Then I'm going to repeat that exact same weight for 12. Since I just did this weight And typically this is like my overreaching sets right here. This is a new weight of the week. This set is going to be tough. I'll have that in the red. And then when we're coming back down now, this is where it gets very, very challenging. I think this is where a lot of people are missing out. So instead of just ending here at my all-time max, of 215 for 12 on a barbell row, then I dial my weight back. It could be referred to as a back off set. Typically back off sets are low percentages though. They go down to anywhere from 40 to 70% of your working weight. I do the exact same weight that I did on the way down. So if I'm doing a set of 15 here for 185, I'm doing a set on the back off set of 15 of 185. Since I'm already fatigued, since I've already done this weight, I would say this set is going to be very, very challenging. And then I'm doing 20 at 165 of the same weight that I started with as well. Since I'm fatigued as well, that's going to be another very challenging set. So you'll notice here that I have 3 reds. If we were to go back and look at the other ones, which I'll grab right now, you're going to notice that there's, mostly green, mostly yellow. There's not a lot of red. There's not a lot of challenge when it comes to this type of exercises. And while yes, one set may be very challenging, and this is what I've seen in the past, I had a hard time progressing with my strength, with my overall strength, because I was just so focused on this last set. So instead of just being focused on that last set, now really I have 4 sets and 3 sets especially that are very, very challenging. What this helps me do, it helps me overreach a little bit, but still under control. So when I'm in this yellow to red area, these are typically, the yellow is usually a new weight for me, and then I try to match it if I can. Now, I'll be honest with you guys. I've been doing this for a while, for about 6 months now, this style of training. And what I've noticed is that typically, and that's why I color coordinated these, because this is how I feel my sets are. And the first couple sets are always pretty easy, and especially now that my strength is really going up, especially since I'm removed from a contest, even the first 3 sets can be pretty easy. When I get to this second working weight of my heaviest weight, it starts to get very tough. And then these are really where the work happens, these last 3 sets, is because, although we did it for 15 here, to match it at the exact same weight is tough. And to match it again, especially at the end for 20 reps, is very challenging. So this is how I manage my rep scheme, and it helps me not only, get new weights, it helps me progress, over every single one of my rep ranges. So in conclusion, that's really how I've been scheduling my rep ranges. What I've found in the past is like when I've done straight sets, and yes, I still do straight sets for some exercises, typically after I do those kind of things. But what I found in the past is if I was doing, let's say 4 sets of 8 to 10, and I would get, maybe 10 and 10 and 8 and 8 on my 4 sets, and it would be very tough for me to eventually get all sets of 10 reps and then move to the next weight and do the same thing. And while that can be a good way to progress, I find that this way is just a little bit more optimal for myself because I'm constantly changing the weight. I'm constantly upping the weights from week to week, and then I'm reaching a new weight, and then it's helping me get all my other rep ranges up. So if you're looking for a way to progress your program, try the ascending, descending program like I have. And I'll make a post on my Instagram page as well with a little bit more detail and give some specifics on individual weight selection, and hopefully that'll help you guys select your personal weight. That example that I gave was an example of a barbell row that I've been doing. You could do it for any exercise really. I mean, I do it for tricep pushdowns, I do it for dumbbell curls, I do it for deadlifts. So you could really do it any way that you want, any exercise that you want. But the ascending, descending one is the really one that I've been enjoying as of late, and I'll probably stick with that method for a long, long time. I've been seeing incredible strength gain from it as well, and I feel like every single time I go into the gym that I'm at least upping 1 or 2 of those sets with weight, if not more. So guys, if you have any questions about how I schedule my sets and reps, please comment below, please shoot me a message. I'll be here to help you guys. As always, keep dominating every aspect. I'll see you soon.